elected a new executive to serve for the 2025 to 26 term. Elections were held during the 51st Annual General Meeting on Saturday, the 21st of June, at the Alga Building campus or government campus, Plaza, Port of Spain. Dr. Ellis Harrison Burress of the Baha'i Faith has been elected president. He is joined by, I sure they must mean Pundit, they have Pandit. Pandit Loy Mukram Saju of the Trinidad Academy of Hinduism as the first vice president, and Ms. Vidya Ramachala of the Ara Pratinidhi Sabha as the second vice president. Forgive my pronunciation. The new secretary is Ms. Indira Paradesi of the Lime Head Road Cultural Center, with Imran Ahmed Hussain of Ashja serving as assistant secretary. Baba Neil Ryan Rollins of the Council of Orisha Elders has been appointed treasurer, while Pandita Renata Divi, so it's Pandita Renata Divi Kunji Bihari of the Shiva Dharam Sabha takes up the role as public relations officer. These elected trustees, or the elected trustees, are Canon Richard Jacob, Sister Hemlata Sanji, and Abbess Teresa Williams. So shout out to the new executive of the IRO, which is the Interreligious Organization. You see how blessed we are as a country. How much countries in the world with so much diverse religions and spirituality could come together as one under one umbrella? Only Trinidad and Tobago and DSA. So let me continue. So the Soca Warriors, they out of the Gold Cup, although they draw 1-1 with, who does they draw with, boy? I can't remember. But they're not in the World Cup, the Gold Cup. However, they'll be focusing on the World Cup. So let us, don't be disheartened, let us give them that support. The new coach, Dwight York, and his whole team, we don't give up on them. We have a way, if people only winning, you're good with them. And when they're winning, you have a problem. We get them that support, man. And all who find you should have played 3-3-4 and 2-3, whatever, write all the comments and send it to them now. And I think Coach Dwight York, you know what you and your team, your management should do? Put up a suggestion box or an email or something so people could send in all them coaches and them people that watch real football and they know formation and all that. Let us send in and tell you what they think is a good formation, who you think, whoever. And just look it over and see, I get ideas from that too. So I think all you should do a suggestion box and let people drop in, either email, social media, or something, the lineup and the formation and what they think could win and what they observe and what they observe. Let me do this together. It's a team thing. Let's do it together. I'm seeing here that I want to tell Mr. Ralph Mirage. Let me tell you something. Ralph Mirage, you walk, faith boy. You're damn right. Tell my myself and coach you. You walk for the position you get. Oh, Jesus. You're good work, boy. You're good. You say what you have to say. You get on. You was disrespectful. You're disrespectful to Dr. Rowley. You're disrespectful to Darren Master. The callers. You're disrespectful to everybody. You write your column that was very subjective. You're in business. You work. You're good work. And you were rewarded. I don't know if that's a good thing. Eh? So in the Trinidad Express, hi Lestron, hi Yvette, hi Macano. So this was June the 21st. The Express is at my last column. I'm reading the whole thing, but Ralph Mirage, this is what, I think this is a picture from a long time. I don't think Ralph does look so. Ralph does look like if something cured him. I saw him already. I was in the studio at the time, right? So I'm talking from, now we can feel to talk from. He looked like he was cured. I don't know what cured him. So he said, this is my final column after 12 years. Thank you, Jesus. I have been honored by the Prime Minister Kamala Persad with the appointment of Ambassador Extraordinary and the plenipotentiary of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to the Caribbean Community CARICOM. I am very grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister for this opportunity to serve our country in this capacity. Writing this column has been one of my most satisfying experiences. It must be because you get what you wanted out of it, in my opinion. You get the thing. You're not an ordinary ambassador, you're extraordinary with what? Plenipotentiary. Hello. Yes, the ambassadors are the ambassadors, so you walk. So he said writing this column has been one of his most satisfying experiences, intellectually and spiritually. Readers' responses, high and low, suggest that I perform significant national service. There's no richer reward. I thank you all who have reached out everywhere. Oh God, you walk. I hope if you wipe your mouth and think you ain't going to say anything wrong, eh? Okay, probably could be brown powder, I don't know. I'm extremely grateful to the management and staff of the Express. I was proud to be a columnist that's what you call it, in the national leading newspapers. Special thanks to my editor-in-chief, Ms. Omati Lider, for her support and guidance over the years. Never distant, always responsive, always helpful. Okay, Ralph, go like yourself. I just want to give an opinion here. Now, let me ask a question, Ralph, my darling. Do you have a problem with the liquids? I'm just asking, because if you do, I would not like you to be out there as the extraordinary penitent, wherever, ambassador, and we have an incident where it's all over social media, because those things happen. So be on point. You're not in Trinidad where you could carry on. You're out there, you're under scrutiny. Don't go there and embarrass you, right? But congratulations. Now continue. Hi, Malcolm, hi, Veronica, hi, Ophelia, hi, Kima. So, in commemoration of African Emancipation Day coming up just now, I said, because they're questioning my blackness, they're questioning my consciousness, they're questioning the consciousness of my blackness. I am black again. Because I support my member of parliament. So in commemoration of let me see it here. Where did Ting go on? Hi, Joyce. In commemoration of, and we just had Juneteenth that is celebrated in America, June 19th. So that's another acknowledgement of our black consciousness. So this is about a gentleman called Thomas Fuller. He was a mental calculator. So let me give you a history of him. Born on the African continent, likely somewhere between present-day Liberia and Benin. Fuller was kidnapped and shipped to America in 1724 at the age of 14. He became enslaved by Elizabeth Cox of Alexandria, Virginia. Despite his mathematical skill, Fuller was illiterate. All of this word they have here is the whole alphabet, and let me try to say it is ethnomathematics. Okay, it isn't so bad. Ethnomathematics. Researcher Ron Eglash theorized that Fuller may have been Basari, comparing his abilities to their mathematical tradition. Before colonialism, the Basari used to have specialists who were trained in the memorization of sums. Stories of his mathematical achievements spread through the east coast of the United States and reached as far as France and Germany, becoming fuel for the abolitionist movement. Fuller was about 70 years old. William had Shawn and Samuel Coates, members of the Pennsylvania Abolition Society, PAS, heard about Fuller's extraordinary powers in arithmetic. The pair stopped their travel to investigate Fuller. Benjamin Rush, physician and founding father, had sought proof of black intelligence through the lens of scientific achievements to bolster anti-slavery causes. Through his membership in PAS, and what PAS is again, that's the Pennsylvania Abolition Society. So through his membership in PAS, Rush was acquainted with Hartshorne and Coates and reported on their interview of Fuller in the Columbian magazine. In this report, Rush stressed the credibility of Hartshorne and Coates. Rush retold how Hartshorne and Coates tested Fuller's mathematical abilities as follows. First, upon being asked how many seconds there are in a year and a half, he answered in about 2 minutes, 47,304,000. Second, on being asked how many seconds a man has lived, who is 70 years, 17 days, and 12 hours old, he answered in a minute and a half. He said, okay, this I feel is billion, 2,010,500. Let me read it out. 2, 210, 500, 800. Walk it out on yourself. One of the gentlemen who employed himself with his pen in making these calculations told him he was wrong and that the sum was not so great as he had said, upon which the old man hastily replied, "Top, massa, you forget the top leap year." On adding the second of the leap year to the others, the amount of the whole in both their sums agreed exactly. Third, the following questions was then proposed to him. Suppose a farmer had 6 sows, and each sow had 6 female piglets, and the first year, and they all increased in the same proportion. To the end of 8 years, how many sows will the farmer have then? In 10 minutes, he answered, 34,588,806. The difference of time between his answering this and the 2 former questions was occasioned by a trifling mistake he made from a misapprehension of the question. Despite Fuller's perfect answer, it appeared to Hartshorne and Coates that his mental abilities must have once been more extraordinary, Rush wrote. He was gray-headed and exhibited several other marks of the weakness of old age. He had worked hard upon a farm during the whole of his life, but had never been intemperate in the use of spirituous liquors. He spoke with great respect of his mistress and mentioned in a particular manner his obligations to her for refusing to sell him, which she had been tempted to by offers of large sums of money from several persons. One of the gentlemen, Mr. Coates, having remarked on his presence that it was a pity he had not had an education equal to his genius, he said, "No, master, it is best I had no learning, for many learned men be great fools." The only other independent original source documenting Fuller's abilities besides Rush is Fuller's obituary. Fuller's obituary, published anonymously in the Columbian Sentinel in 1790, tells how he could mentally calculate correct answers to complicated questions faster than people calculating by hand could. It also reported minor details of his life. The obituary went on to say, had his opportunity of improvement been equal to those of thousands of his fellow men, neither the Royal Society of London, the Academy of Science at Paris, nor even Newton himself need have been ashamed to acknowledge him as a brother in science. So people remember the name Thomas Fuller, who was a mental calculator, and he was an enslaved African, straight from Africa, And apparently he was from a tribe that was known for their mathematical genius in Africa. So that was just something there. I thought it was important. So you all know, hi Maria, hi Jackie, hi Sarah. So you all know right now, the place Iran and Iraq and America, there are things happening out there. We tend to feel we live in a bubble that nothing no bother we. All we just studies were happening here and we so myopic and everything. But there are things happening out in the world that we should be aware of. So this was in BBC News 7 hours ago. It said it in 7 again. What we need to know about US strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to give you some bite size. Iran is weighing its response to US strikes carried out against its nuclear sites at the weekend, which American officials say has significantly set back the prospect of Iranian building a nuclear weapon. The strike was launched as Israel and Iran continued to attack each other after a long simmering regional rivalry escalated into direct conflict earlier this month. The impact and wider implication of the US strike on Iran are still becoming clear. Here is what we know so far. So they said the US what has the US bombed and what weapons did they use? The operation code name was Midnight Hammer. It involved 125 US military aircraft and targeted 3 nuclear facilities, Fordo, Natsan, and Isfahan. They were hit between 22 4 GTM and 23:06 GTM on Saturday, the 2nd, 02. So it's not on Saturday at 02:40:03:05 on Sunday, Tehran time, the US said. US General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, disclosed more details during a press conference. He said the aircraft took off from the US and made an 18-hour journey to Iran. Some jets were sent west into the Pacific as a decoy, while others went ahead of the main bomber to ensure airspace was clear. 7 B-2 stealth bombers tasked with hitting the nuclear sites flew into Iran and avoided detection. At the same time, 24 cruise missiles were launched at the Isfahan site from a submarine. In total, 75 precision guided weapons were used during the operation. People, this is nothing we just watch on TV and movies something. You're reading this and not really connecting that this happened. You know, this song like is a movie that Luc Besson or Steven Spielberg or them action people who doesn't make the movies. This is something like 14 GBU-57 massive ordinated penetrators, MOPS, were dropped on the Fordo site, a nuclear enrichment facility buried deep below a mountain outside Tehran, which is vital to Iran's nuclear ambition. Only the US operates these huge so-called bunkers, buster bombs, the sole weapons that could conceivably reach the concealed site. Listen, all these things happening. What is known about the impact of the attacks? In the hours that followed, it are more other things about it, you know that, Papa. In the hours that followed, General Kane said it would take time to assess the damage, but added an initial appraisal indicated that all 3 sites sustained extreme severe damage and destruction. Since then, Trump has said that the strikes caused monumental damage, adding in a social media post, obliteration is an accurate term. Satellite image taken at the 22nd of June shows 6 fresh craters clustered around 2 entry points on the Fordo nuclear site, most likely where the US bombs fell, as well as a grey dust and debris scattered down the mountainside. It had more and more things, but I'm just going to read the next headline. How might Iran retaliate and what has happened since? There has been no further US strikes, and senior American officials stress they are not seeking a wider war with Iran. However, Trump has since floated the idea of regime change, writing on social media. If the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? That was in caps there. It still is not clear how Iran will respond, though analysts have speculated that attacks on American military bases in the region and a blockade of the Straits of Hormuz, a narrow shipping lane of the Iranian coast that is critical to the global oil trade. That's possible. I really don't know. What I want to tell you, I heard on the news, me reading how it started. I ain't heard that. I heard on the news there was some strike back in some place. Somebody sent a video to me, but I said this must be joke too. But when I hear they say that it had some strike back or something in Qatar or some kind of thing, so I just playing this story. I don't know if this is true. Watch it.
After Iran's strike, the US quietly started pulling out. But that's not the shocking part. Iran launched a missile attack so precise, so calculated, that for the first time in years, After Iran's strike, the US quietly started pulling out. But that's not the shocking part. Iran launched a missile attack so precise, so calculated, that for the first time in years, America blinked. It wasn't just about Israel. This was a demonstration. Iran hit 20-plus targets, including the heart of Israel's air defense. The message, we see your red lines. We'll cross them. Then came the real shock. Satellite footage showed military trucks leaving Israeli bases hours before the strike. Who warned them? Did Iran leak it? Did someone flip? The U.S. response? Deafening silence, quiet evacuation of sensitive bases in Qatar and Oman. Western media buried the story, but the implications, huge. Iran isn't playing defense anymore. It's shaping global power structures, and Washington knows it. From missile tech to psychological warfare, Iran is showing the world, we won't wait for your approval. And if this is just round one, what's coming next?
People, some scary times, and those who are religiously inclined would say, sign of the times. Yeah, everybody will have their take on what is happening. No, but I just want to show you all, while we here in this small space, the little bit of we eating up itself but stupidness. Serious thing happening out there that could affect the whole Caribbean. Because we don't have a missile, we don't have an air thing, we don't have nothing. Okay? But just recently, this Prime Minister let the whole world know she aligned with Trump and he policies were when it comes to Venezuela. And then back on all thing, and she started to jump out. When Venezuela say some Trinidadian and something with some come with guns and blah, 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 instead of diplomatically treating with it and getting the info, she jump out before they come in with water and thing, and they respond and say, where you going on so for, woman? We never tell you we coming in your water, nothing. Okay. Yeah, mamacita. So let me continue. That's now. Right, so I see somebody send me something here. So I'm going to read it because it's looking exciting. You know, as I never said I would. Next thing people say, I try and talk to them. You know, some of my people that has get me info from, right? So I'm seeing here that things are happening in Tobago. The minority leader is always on board, always on point. Always on point, bringing the information, and listen to this. Oh, let it please.
And let me start by congratulating the Secretary on her maiden budgetary presentation. I thought it was on paper a fair attempt, but in reality, what the team suggests that is accelerating growth, anchoring fiscal stability. But what the Tobago People's Party has actually succeeded in is not accelerating growth, but instead accelerating Tobago's economic decline. We have not anchored stability, but have anchored our island in fiscal stagnation, leaving our people adrift in a sea of empty promises and squandered opportunities. What is the hard reality on the ground? Under this current administration, after 4 years, our tourism sector, which is our lifeblood, is basically dead. If you go to the hotels, you will not see tourists there. If you go on the beaches, you will not see the number of tourists, especially international tourists there. And when you talk to the stakeholders, you are hearing the pain, the struggle, and the financial depredation that they are facing at this time. Hey folks, I want to...
So that was what he's speaking about is the Secretary of Finance for Tobago, some Miss Petal something, she would have presented. And you know the TPP making Tobagonians feel that this new government, UNC, give them so much money, more than the PNM used to give them, which is a fabrication, I understand, because the PNM had given them in the media review, last at 50-something million, I think it was. They get 30-something million now. And they get, I think, 100 million borrow alone. And I think what this government do is add the two together and say Tobago get 130-something million dollars, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they get less money with the, what do you think, boy? Oh, Lord, what am I going to bring it in? Yes, Tobago get less money than they usually get from the PNM government in the media review. And they get a loan where Tobago have to pay back. Sometimes they have to pay back. So they really ain't get nothing, right? So that is what Kelvin Morris, the minority leader, was basically saying. Tobago ain't have nothing happening. Tourism done, everything done. Tobago in a mess. But if people in Tobago like to take mama guy because they don't like this one and that one, or they don't want to get themselves informed, can't do nothing about that. Excuse me. So, let me continue. So. Hi, Donna. Hi, Dara. Let me continue. He continues. So, people, I see this. Because today I intend to say long, because we have things to talk.
So we are here again to talk about...
No. We're not here to talk about what you're talking there. Where my video going? Really? My video going. I don't want to talk about not right.
No better. The essence of good leadership is to speak the truth. Okay? So I want to suggest to you to stay out of PNM business.
All right, let's calm down. We're almost going to be at the end of this speech.
Mr. Speaker, there are those of us who know very well they don't just get up and talk for the sake of talking. Right? And I want to suggest to the Member of Parliament for Cuba South, who somehow has convinced himself that he is the real Prime Minister. Right?
Member from Cuba South, please.
No.
Come on.
say Barrier took every attack. She led from the front.
Members, let's have some order. Well, San Fernando East, as I said earlier in the week, it is somewhat rich to complain about the fish market environment when you are a substantial contributor to the noise. Let us all take it down. Let us all take it down. Let us restrain from the finger pointing. Let us restrain from the gratuitous hurling of insults across the aisle. Please.
People of Trinidad and Tobago.
That wasn't it, but as it started, I say, we don't just play it one time, but that wasn't the video. And that was last week, I think. That is not today, so that's last week. I got a headache just listening to them. You hear Barry Parada behavior. And again, I say, all who tell people not to vote for PNM would have been in office now, we don't have to deal with Barry carrying on. So, PM2, I started calling them that long time, PM2. All of a sudden, I used to call them that. I said, I PM2, Barry, with they say is lace front. I just say what they say, I don't say the man does wear lace front. But I know that brown powder look. So that's the behavior, and oh God, and the chief, from the front. And then when you hear the voice of the speaker of the house, oh Jesus. Anyhow, as I said, that is not what. But I'll just give you a glimpse of the opposition leader, the political leader, presentation in Parliament. But that wasn't the video, right? I can't remember what the video was anyway. So now that the UNC is in office, it is 2 months yet. Nobody's suffering in this country again. Nobody meeting hard times. The crime ain't high, no crime don't happen. Milk and honey just flow from the mountain top. We go to the tree and we pick manna from the tree. It falls from heaven. And everything is well in the world for the month and something the UNC has been there. All of a sudden, there's no suffering. We're going to go eat grass. Everything is good. Everything is good. So if that is to be true, it means to say that the UNC would have met things in place that the People's National Movement left there, so that is why they're able to fall in, and there are no major shocks, everything going on. And it could also show that people are lying. And because they build up this thing in their mind about hatred for Dr. Rowley and the PNM for whatever reason, they were willing to spread this propaganda over and over and over again, and people bought into it. But I see no suffering. I ain't seen in the front page of the papers, nobody spread out. I ain't seen nothing. The thing nice and everybody nice. But every day, crime continues unabated. But who am I? So let me continue. So I'm also seeing, just now, That's that thing I deleted one time. I want all that thing on the phone. I'm also seeing that the Minister of Finance, Dave Tanku. You remember I played a video for you all where the man was saying, he gave an opinion saying that they're going to reintroduce the cotton bills. Well, I don't know if as the man come out and talk that, I just saying, me, you know, if it's as the man come out and talk that, they must say, we can't do that now, boy. All eyes go beyond you. I don't know. I just saying. But I'm seeing here in CNC3. Hi, Dion. I see now in CNC3, Guardian, 18 hours ago, Tanku, no plans to reintroduce all 100 cut notes. Ooh. Finance Minister Dave Tanku, well, they cut down his name because you know his name is the whole alphabet, right? Joventronat, yeah. So they just put Dave, good old Dave. So Finance Minister Dave Tanku has rubbished social media claims that the United National Congress government plans to reintroduce the previous cut notes, $100 notes, which was replaced with polymer notes in 2019. Then White has already stopped the introduction of the new $100 bill that was supposed to be released. Why always stop it? It's a good thing that man make that video, boy. Let me continue. The reintroduction claims allege that the reintroduction of the previous cotton notes was coming, and that was why the UNC government was holding off on introducing the updated polymer notes with the national steel pan instrument on it. Well, if it's not that, why only holding back is the pan. Because I know, in my opinion, or they didn't like how the pan became the national instrument, or they would have been happy if they put the TASA somehow. So if it's not that you're reintroducing the 100 cut notes, then why they refuse to release the $100 notes that had the steel pan on it? Because already even using the emblem of the steel pan, so then we'll have a problem with the steel pan. Let me continue. I don't see all the panorama thing, you know. And all they had all the big meeting thing and talk to Johan Chokari and kind of thing, and Beverly Ramsey wasn't there. Pantry Digo wasn't there. Papa, you. So let me continue. Under the previous government, the old cotton version of the $100 note was changed in 2019 to polymer. After last year's change of the coat of arms to reflect the steel pan as the national instrument, it was announced in February that a new version of the polymer notes with the steel pan on them would have been issued in September. Just over a week ago, however, the central bank announced the suspension of the rollout of the 2025 series of the $100 polymer banknotes following a directive from Tang to halt production of notes featuring revised coat of arms. And I want to tell Minister Jovindranath Tangku, Minister of Finance, with all due respect, in my opinion, you don't want to release it because it have the steel pan on it. And I thought all they say, all they love people, all they love all of we, when UNC win, all of we win, all kind of thing. But you know what the steel pan to win? Why not releasing the $100? Why not releasing it? And I don't want to talk to Johan Chokari. He's of Indian descent, a very talented panelist. And while I talk about it, he playing the steel pan. So why do I want to release it? Minister of Finance with the steel pan on it. Why? And what I want to talk about pan, the new Minister of Trade and Industry, I think it is. The Minister from Sasha, I think. He talking with Johan. It's pan they talking, exporting, all kind of thing. You know how nice it is? Johan have a 100 and then he go out there and show people, you know, look with money thing. Where's that one? Go try that now. Go try that. Go try that. I feel they want to release it because it had the steel pan on it. Because if it's not for the $100 cotton bill, then where's the problem? Because everything was drawn in place already. Where you stop it for? It's the steel pan, or they don't like, but only talking to Johan Chokari. Very talented Indian youth playing pan. And plenty Indian people that play pan, young children and everybody. This is not no just we alone. All are we playing pan. All are we children playing pan. Let me go again. The social media video claimed that the government is seeking to reintroduce the previous cotton $100 notes followed the suspension announcement of the updated polymer notes. When asked whether the government is indeed planning to reintroduce the reintroduction of the cotton notes, Tangku said, "This is absolutely untrue. While this government remains focused on rebuilding the economy, there seems to be people with overactive imaginations and malintent. No, we don't have overactive imagination, Minister Tangku. We know the UNC. We had a dealing with them for 5 years, PP government UNC, and we had a dealing with them before. We know, we have a history, we know how leaders operate. Or they bring Section 34, you know, the free to financiers. We know how leaders operate. So don't move as if we know. Okay. I ain't reading much more this one because I ain't able to thank them and the foolishness. You went and tell people, all who pay for their property tax, they'll get back the money. And the Prime Minister, she show you up, she said, "Me tell you that? Thank where getting the money from?" That was the end of the conversation. So you sound like a good setup, man. While this government remains for right, but I'm confident Trinbagonians are astute enough to continue to recognize and reject these political mischief makers. No, it's not political mischief makers. You're going wrong when you start there. It's legitimate concerns. Tanko then replied to queries on the reason for suspending production of the updated polymer notes, whether government may add to the notes features apart from the steel ban, or if he would address the matter in Parliament today in his wind-up to the debate on the supplementary appropriation bill. And if you can give us a reason why or they not releasing those bills, with all due respect, Finance Minister Tanko, in my opinion, it may not have an ulterior motive, but because the man make the video and come out and talk it out in the open, it must be hold up all their plans. Is that the opinion I give in it? Because why you want to say the reason? Tell me what is the reason. Is it you like how it's looking? Is it that you find you should bring it out now? Where's the reason? You're not giving a reason. So then we have our imagination, which is not overactive. It is based on knowing now there, why people saying that. Because again, all they ain't taking up no taxes, or let's stop the TTRA, or let's stop the demerit points, or they ain't stop this, or let's stop that. Anyway, they get money, or let's stop it. What they get money for all them plans, and then so people start to think probably all they want to bring back the dollar notes in the system. So all who have their money still all in the roof and all in the mattress, all in the wall, all kind of thing, it could come back on the market. But it have a side effect to that. So when all them must say, here, the fella know what he's talking about. Because we're very astute. You told us that, we're very astute. You say, them two, this is not 2010, They've been out there doing the work, boy, the doctor time. This is not 2010, They got fool people. So he want to tell me why and whatever. So me ain't continuing with this because, just now. The House of Representatives meted to continue last Wednesday's debate on the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2025. This will add $3.2 billion to the 2025 budget of $59.741 billion. The House meets from 10 a.m. So it's going on now, I think it is. And then the Senate also, they was meeting to talk, but they talk, right? Oh God, it's like going to the dentist and getting an injection to remove a tooth. Jesus Lord. These Senate and the House and things becoming very painful to watch. But I did see good representation by Hans V, Member of Parliament for Diego Martin, I think it's Central, and so MP Marcel for Laventel West. And then good I saw before, probably not today, MP Manning could handle these stories. I saw Dominic a while back also, but not today. Could handle these stories. Of course, the veterans, Minister Stuart Young and MP members. So we have some fighters there who are just going to let them walk all over we, but my concern is the leader, and I'll continue to say that. So this is what Brian Manning would have said about them now wanting to borrow more money all over the place to add to the media review and all that. This is what he was asking them.
They knew the economy was crashed. Why were they making those promises on the campaign trail? There was no secret. There was no secret here. This is not some secret government. All of our economic indicators are available at the central bank. All of the international agencies had them. It was available to the public. They knew the state of the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. And they knew that we were in a good place. And that is why they made the incredible promises that they did. But they went overboard. And now they're trying to renege. They're trying to tap back, as we say in local parlance. Economics will trump politics every single time. They could promise and promise and promise, but when it's time to deliver, it's a different story. The two largest deficit budgets were in 2021 and 2020 during the COVID crisis. Mr. Speaker, those on the other side are coming here today to break that record. If your revenues are below your expenses, you have to borrow money to cover that difference. That is what they are doing. They are borrowing and borrowing more and more money, and with absolutely no plan as to how that funding is to be repaid.
So people, we in a real bad way. So
I don't see this in the PNM.
Look at that. We in a real bad way, you know. And we may not see the effects of it now because it's still early. It's even 2 months yet. The 28th of this month will make it 2 months. So we don't really see the effect of these things these people doing now. Eh? We will see that later on. I want to say that, well, everybody know that the internal election for the People's National Movement was yesterday. Leading up to it, the one PNM team, they were very boisterous and sometimes to the extent aggressive, in my opinion. And it seemed to me that the things they were accusing others of, they were doing it. It's almost like they were bullying, intimidating with the words and things they were saying. And then I will always go back to thinking, they said that Dr. Raleigh was this and Dr. Raleigh was that, and they behaving the same way they accused Dr. Raleigh of behavior, right? And I will always feel at the end of the day that Dr. Raleigh would have given a lot of them who always talking out against him, their political relevance in this country. Mrs. Penelope Beckers, the opposition leader, political leader at PNM today. She's made history, of course, first female. She admitted that she was out in the political wilderness for years, and that was under the years of Mr. Manning. Dr. Raleigh gave her a posting out in the UN. Amy Brown, who it is alleged, said he not going to work with Dr. Raleigh because he was a Manning peoples. He too would have been given a posting also, and there were others. And I think Dr. Raleigh, when he looked at it, is all about building the PNM in 2010 after the defeat, 29-12, and he needed all hands on deck, and he knew that there will be division because there are persons who love Mr. Manning, felt he was unfair to Mr. Manning, and there were those who loved Dr. Raleigh and felt that Mr. Manning was unfair. So it had that. So it's not that this is the first time the PNM has had this side and that side. However, the leaders of the PNM at that time were able to pull everybody together despite what and make it work. And I think that may have worked against the PNM. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Because what had happened, people are just put aside for put aside sake and never dealt with the issues or dealt with the hurt, dealt with the anger. They just patch up, let me move on. Something and again patch up and let me move on. And I think we have reached a space in our history, 2025 especially, where patch up and move on is not the best thing. It has to be confronted, not in an aggressive way, using mediation, conciliation, and treat with the issues, hurtful on both sides, and people not to be big enough, have a space where you could vent. And when you're venting, become a mediator. When you're venting, is a space where you talk, and after that has gone out the way, then you now started, because it's like vomiting. Bring it all out, painful as it is, ugly as it is, smelly as it is, get it out. And then when you finish, you settle the stomach, and then you could now start to have a conversation. But you see, when you want to vomit and they tell you hold back the vomit because we had this to do, that to do, it's not the best thing, because then it starts to affect you, right? And any little thing, back and I'll start. So I think that, in my opinion, the past leaders, Dr. Ike Williams, deceased, God rest his soul, George Michael Chambers, rest his soul, Mr. Manning, rest his soul, and Dr. Rowley, would have been able to pull these warring fractions together in the interest, and because of their leadership style, were able to hold it together. However, it always simmered under the surface, always waiting for an opportunity to burst out. And I continue to say, despite whoever wants to say what they have to say, at the end of the day, what I'm saying will be proven true. So I don't worry myself for that. I do not make comments to hurt people. I do not make comments because I want to see this mash up. And it's not about that. It's about we're at a place now, or the PNM is, let me stop saying we, the PNM is at a place now that they could no longer just simply say, let me just patch back up and let me just move on. The time for that has passed. You can't move on until you deal with what's there. And there must be a space where people could speak freely and people be able to exercise emotional intelligence and understand it's not personal, but this is how I feel, this is how you feel, this is how she feels, he feels, get it out. And then you can start to build from there. How things are going now, but I'll get to that. So somebody sent this to me, it's June 18, 2025, and it says here, the Trinidad Generation Unlimited, TGU electricity generation plant at Labrador. And what it says here is that for the first time in nearly a decade, Trinidad Generation Unlimited, TGU, has returned to the international bond market, raising US $525 million to help refinance its existing debt and improve its financial footing. Now, this could not have happened because of a UNC government. This would have happened because of a PNM government. So we get straight, UNC has nothing to do with this. The state-owned power company priced a new 8-year bond at an interest rate of 7.75%, which investors will receive annually. The money will go towards buying back an older US $450 million bond that is due in 2027. Proceeds from the transaction will be used to fund the repurchase of TGU outstanding US $450 million of 5.25% senior notes due in 2027. Originally issued in 2016, for US $6 million, these amortizing bonds are the only notes the company has ever issued, it stated. The bond, which will be repaid in 6 parts starting in late 2030, drew strong interest from investors and was priced slightly better than early estimates. The state-owned power generator priced the 8-year senior unsecured note at a yield of 8.125%, tightening from initial price through the mid 8% area. Final guidance was set at 8.25% plus or minus 12.5 BP before launch. The bond will amortize in 6 equal semi-annual installments stated in December 2030, stated. The company is offering to pay US 1,009.50 per US $1,000 of original principal, adjusted by an amortization factor of 83.33%, reflecting a prior principal repayment. The tender offer launched on June 2nd, it stated, rating agencies Standard & Poor's and Fitch both give the new bond BB ratings, with S&P noting that the deal would improve the company's cash flow and liquidity. Flynn said the move will help TGU cut down its debt over time. In a June 6 report, Standard & Poor's described this transaction as pure liability management initiative and would improve liquidity and extend the average debt tenor up to over 5 years. Standard & Poor's and Fitch respectively assigned BB plus and BB ratings to the new notes, with S&P revising the company's outlook to stable from negative. S&P highlighted TGU's strong liquidity position with US $236 million in cash as of March. Fitch cited TGU's strategic role in Trinidad and Tobago energy sector, its status as a state-owned enterprise, and the stability of its revenue stream, which is underpinned by a long-term power purchase agreement through 2041. Finch also noted that refinancing is expected to support structural deleveraging, with leverage projected to decline to around 6 times EBITDA, down from 11.6 times in 2022. People who in finance will know what I read in here. I don't have a clue about most of the thing. All I know, and I'm going to end now, all I really know. Now, let me read this part. Finch also noted that refinancing is expected to support structure. Right, I read that. Okay. Deutsche or DEUTSCHE Bank led the new bond offering, while CIBC and First Citizen Bank acted as co-manager. This marks a broader return to global markets for Trinidad and Tobago. The government itself raised US $750 million in 2024 after getting high marks from the IMF for its economic recovery. Let me read it again, people. This marks a broader return to global markets for Trinidad and Tobago. The government itself raised US $750 million in 2024 after getting high marks from the IMF for its economic recovery. Trinidad and Tobago last accessed the bonds market about a year ago. The sovereign raised US $750 million through a 10-year bond in June 2024 that priced to yield 6.4% after receiving praise from the IMF for its economic recovery and strong external position, it stated. TGU, according to its website, owns and manages a major fuel-efficient 720 megawatts combined cycle power plant in Trinidad and Tobago. The TGU facility is the largest combined cycle power plant in the Caribbean and currently supplies approximately 50% of Trinidad and Tobago's electrical energy. TGU is owned by the National Investment Fund Holding Company Limited, NIF. The latter is the wholly owned entity of the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago stated. TGU is fully staffed by nationals whose exceptional expertise and performance allows us to meet the rigid standard of health, safety, and environment, as well as operationability and reliability of the facility stated. Oh, they hear that? So when Tango and them standing up in the parliament and talking the crap, and they say this government, who I need to block, Rick? Who I need to block? Tell me, Rick, I need to block? Okay, let me see. Okay, Right. When they tell all you, Dr. Roddy do nothing for the economy, and the economy was bad and this, and Stuart Young this and that, all they see? What happening? Things nice. Remember when they had put all the NIF bonds last time? How much people making money, all kind of thing, they buy shares, all that. Now in my area, so I'll try to call Dominic and ask him if he having a show. Go into this and explain it proper to all. All I know, good management. The IMF say, good way. So don't take on them and they say this, the PNM government didn't manage the economy and the bad and all that. They lie. That's why Mr. Manning, MP Manning, had to tell them we tell them. They meet it good, but them is not good managers, in my opinion, so you know what's going to happen. So let me continue. Thanks to the person who sent this to me. I can't remember who sent it. So as I was saying, the People's National Movement had the internal elections yesterday, and while it's not the first time that the PNM had issues in terms of this side and that side, as I was saying, and having lost the election, there was 33-3 and then 29-12, and they came back together. It had to do with leadership. It's not just simply people just so. Leadership who could pull all sides together and say, listen, it's for the greater good. But as I was saying, I think the time has reached is not just simply to pull together and move on and forget and think. I think our time has reached now where we need to sit down and vomit in a space where people could vomit without no problems. And then after that, I'm talking about verbally vomit. not physical. After that, no, you get out of the system, whatever, sit down and have a conversation. And people must not be afraid to accept responsibility. Responsibility can be one person in an organization. It can be two people in an organization. There's something called collective responsibility. When you didn't like the idea, you didn't like it, you went with the idea. So anything coming out of that idea, you have to take responsibility for it. If it remain outside the idea, whatever happened, it has recorded that you're not in the idea. Right? So the election was held, and before I come to the results and congratulations, let me just give you some stuff that was been happening. So I'm seeing here that the opposition leader and the political leader, okay, let me see, right. New thing, new time, you're getting banned, right? Because if I read them from the Express, the Guardian, and other areas where people post stuff that you could go and fact check, and I read in propaganda when it's them putting the propaganda there. How it gonna be when I read it from reports? It's not Jennifer Frederick writing reports. So then go to the Guardian, go to the Express, go to the IMF, go to Standard & Poor's, go to Moody's, go to Finch, and tell them they're spreading propaganda. Okay, right. So this is, what is this? This was in the Trinidad Express, again, 13 hours ago. As I always say when I read this stuff. PNM members, poor planning. PNM members were eagerly awaiting the results of yesterday's internal election last night. But up to 9 p.m., there was no result available. The Election Supervisory Committee had to separate the ballot paper according to different offices and then put them in different heaps according to the candidates before counting began. But the voting process in yesterday's PNM internal election may have left room for irregularities. Many of the persons in charge of the conduct of the elections in the various constituencies were supporters of the incoming political leader Penelope Beckers' one PNM team. Therefore, the other candidates, those who were not on Becker's team, had many complaints about the voting process yesterday. There appeared to be poor planning and coordination. At least one constituency ran out of ballot paper. Candidate Roger Boynes said the party ran out of ballot paper at the Stoker Sandy Grande polling station. We have reached the point where there was no more ballot paper, he said. So I was just calling the Election Commission Committee, and they say they are sending some from the constituency of Lower Hocketa to Alparo because they dropped 200 ballot papers here. They dropped 150 in different places, but they dropped 1,000 by Foster Cummins, former constituency. You understand? So I have a set of people in the line waiting to vote, and they can't vote. You understand? Stupid. These people, you know, what they have done. They have sent people all over the place, people from here who are accustomed to voting here, their names all in Tobago, in Naparima, all over the place. They are trying to suppress the vote now, right? To frustrate the people, Boyne stated. But hopefully, God will make sure that the people's wish come true today in spite of all that is going on. We are here. We are just taking notes of all the infractions, but we are still pushing forward in God's name. That's what we are doing, Boyne said. I can only do my best for the people because the people want this, and they are trying their best to frustrate the whole process, he said. He joked that he hoped that the ballot paper coming from Hocketa will not be fully loaded, that is, filled out. Non-members of the PNM voted. One of the main complaints was that persons whose names were not on the voters list were being allowed to vote. There were reports that some of these persons were being given permission to vote from persons at Balizi House. The slate led by Farai Hove Masaisai wrote to the ESC yesterday, that is the Election Supervisory Committee or Commission, whatever, yesterday expressing concerns about non-members voting in the election, amongst other irregularities. We have received several reports, both from our scrutineers and other candidates and their scrutineers, of persons being allowed to vote without their names appearing on the official voters list. To date, we have not been provided with a procedure for this highly irregular practice, nor have we been informed who holds the mysterious authority at Bally's House to authorize such votes for persons not on the list by simply a call to Bally's House where someone gets the nod. It is our firm position, based on numerous complaints to us, that there were severe irregularities, particularly in the constituencies of Lochockator and St. Anne's East, concerning the legibility and process by which individuals are being permitted to cast votes without being properly listed as members of the PNN. These two constituencies in particular have been able to flout the rules and have been informed that none, and we have been informed that non-members have been voting throughout the day in a PNM internal election. We call immediately for investigation into these complaints, Sinclair O'Neill, attorney for the People's Champion team, stated. O'Neill said the People's Champion team was demanding that the Election Supervisory Committee immediately provide, one, a comprehensive list of names of the persons being permitted to vote without being in any of the official membership lists given to candidates, and two, full disclosure of the precise process for allowing such persons to vote and the specific basis upon which this was being permitted and on whose authority such permission was given. The People's Champion team called for an urgent investigation into the aforementioned issue to ascertain the extent of the irregularities and hold those responsible accountable in order to preserve confidence in the integrity and fairness of the internal election process of the PNM. At 2:46 p.m. yesterday, Hilary Bernard, a candidate for the position of Education Officer, wrote to the Election Supervisory Committee seeking clarification on the addition of two names of the list of electors during the voting process at Lochockator Talparo polling station. Sanjeev Budu had the same complaint. At 2:44 p.m. yesterday, he sent an email to the chairman and the secretary of the Election Supervisory Committee, Richard Walcott and Annalise Percy. There are persons being added to lists in several constituencies following telephone calls made by polling station staff, ostensibly to Bally's House. Please indicate what the process is for persons who do not appear on the list in the hands of the polling clerk, presiding, and deputy presiding officers to be added to the list. This is particularly of an urgent nature, given that several persons at various polling stations who are known members of constituencies but appear on neither the regular nor supplementary list, Budu stated. In Arima, reports were that virtually every person in the voting line had a flyer with name of the PNM1 team. There was also transportation organized for voters who were given flyers of the one team PNM as they entered the maxi taxis. Another irregularity occurring in some constituencies was the alleged breaching of the rules about canvassing. Supporters of the one PNM team were said to be handing out flyers with the names of the 15 candidates to voters who were being allowed to take it inside the voting booth. Some of the names of the persons handing out such flyers were provided to the Express. The Express was sent photos of these flyers that were being handed out in Arima, Bataria, San Juan Point 14, Diego Martin Central, amongst other constituencies. There were also reports that a councillor from the Laventille area walked outside with this polling station with a ballot paper in his hand. He later claimed that he had temporarily stepped outside to assist a relative who was nearby with a matter. Curry Marcel considers legal options. Though most of the complaints came from the People's Champion slate and the independent candidates, at least one candidate on the Beckers 1 PNM team had cause to lodge a complaint with the Election Supervisory Committee. Curry Marcel, the candidate for youth officer, said it was brought to his attention that the one team logo that should have appeared next to his name was missing on many ballots on several constituencies. From reports, I'm the only candidate that this appears to have happened with. I have made a complaint to the Election Supervisory Committee chairman, and I will consider all legal options, Marcel said in a Facebook post yesterday. The turnout was said to be low, but in Arima, it was higher than in other constituencies, perhaps with the exception of San Fernando East and Hocketa Talparo, where a steady flow of voters was evident. So I said, let me read that. And I'm saying that this reminds me of PSA elections, especially the one with Watson Solomon Duke, where it took a week to count 1,700 votes, and his whole slate got 1,700 votes. Everybody else get all 200 now, but his whole slate got 1,700 votes. So that just came back to my memory. And then when I hear all the irregularities, so let me continue. So up until this morning, there were persons who were candidates, independent candidates, did not know who won the election. They got no news. The opposition, and these are the things that I say that create unnecessary stress and conflict, right? So nobody else had the results of the election. Yet when the opposition leader and political leader of the People's National Movement, because she is the political leader, she went up uncontested, was going into Parliament, the Guardian stopped her and asked her a question. Let's hear.
Can you give us an update, any sort of takeaways as it pertains to it?
Well, Seaman, except for the fact that my entire slate won. So I want to congratulate the membership that came out to vote. I mean, now we have to work on uniting, rebuilding the party. And you know, I'm quite happy.
It's because you're declaring victory. When will the official numbers be?
Yeah, shortly.
All right.
Because it went up to the wee hours of this morning. But I'm just saying, yes, that's information.
In light of that, Ms. Beckles, you know, there were reports of irregularities and anomalies with the process. The Election Supervisory Committee, they would have been presented with a letter detailing some of those irregularities. What's your response to those irregularities that have been flagged and raised?
Well, listen, I mean, I have been in elections. I've contested many elections in the PNM. And from time to time, you would hear the issue of irregularities. I mean, you would have heard me speak about the importance of modernization of the party. You know, looking at how we address those issues. I mean, I was pretty open about it, that we have some work to do as it relates to that. So I'm looking forward to addressing it. I mean, you know, we have to accept that there have been some shortcomings, and we have to deal with it. And I'm committed to doing it.
Do you think those concerns would perhaps undermine or erode the party's efforts to unite and to heal?
I do not believe that. And what I think is that if you don't address it, yes, it will affect it.
Thank you.
Sure.
There are some fans of the political leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckles-Robinson, who would find if you say anything about her that you're wrong to say that. And I've always said that I found her to be weak. And I continue to say that. And I tell people, let me know what she would have done. And when I say weak, I don't mean physically weak or anything. Her delivery and everything, just her aura. She has this low energy aura. Some people seem to like that because they have put herself in a zone that Dr. Rowley was, and they like it so, and she quiet. And that's not my cup of tea. My thing is to get the job done, right? But again, I can't fault nobody for liking what they like, because nobody is supposed to fault me for liking what I like, right? So I have always been critical, I would say, of the opposition leader. And it's things like this that make me kind of critical, because nobody else, even if you know your team win, nobody else had that information. And I felt you could have just simply said, until the official results are out and it's known, we will have a conversation. Instead, you let them know your team win, but the results ain't come out yet. And these are the things you're talking about, uniting and building back. You already had all this bacchanal in the election, and then you're coming out and talk with, it will make people seem as if something ain't right. So that's just like, all they don't think. A leader would have thought about and said, listen, I'm not going to say that we win, they be done having problems and things. When the results come out, people have it, or they could talk to me. Before anybody get it, none of the candidates can get it, you want your whole team win, right? Let me continue. And then when people talk now, or they want to find, we want to talk here in a meeting, and I'll tell you why. Again, I found that the opposition leader could have simply said, when the list has been released on the results, you talk. Because in the Guardian, it have now, 18 hours ago, PNM Election Committee probes numerous voting irregularities. So while the committee probing the irregularities, nobody can get the results. You as the opposition leader telling the national community and your team win. As after the fact now, then you see the results come out from the election committee. So is it the election committee saying that investigations into the irregularities is continuing, but they just released a preliminary list? Or are they saying that they look at all the issues and found nothing and they're comfortable? Because I would tell you what raised more concern again. Just about last week, somewhere there, Dr. Seals resigned. He was one of the persons on the, he was the vice chair or something, so, of the same election supervisory committee. He resigned and basically just said something to the effect that things are not in his control. So what does he mean? And we hear all these irregularities, because people will call my phone and tell me what happened and this happening and that happening, that kind of thing. And nobody got the results. But you as a political leader, let everybody know that your team win before the results come out, while investigation going on. So these are the things that create unnecessary stress, more feeling of discomfort. Because I would tell you, I don't know if the opposition leader and her team in a bubble and it's just who support and then they cool with. I not understand, there's people out here who are just frustrated and fed up at what's going on. And they're just taking a backseat, they want no part. I don't know if they're conscious of that or they don't care or they feel who they have is enough to build back PNM. I don't know if that's what they're thinking. Because then the opposition leader is saying, and that's why I say this conversation about basically we move on when you ain't deal with nothing is a problem to me. Right? Not because your team win. Forget about all in, I don't like you always feeling. We have to think, join with me and we will think. And people feeling remain under the carpet and simmer in there and all they moving on. This is the thing, all these accused Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley of all you was accusing him of that. But all they're doing the same thing, all they accuse the man of doing. That's all they allege the man was doing. All doing the same thing. So this now, 18 hours ago, Guardian, after they say all they win, without everybody getting results, while the election committee was investigating irregularities, you jump and say no. Penny calls for healing after bruising internal poll marred by claims of voter irregularity. PNM must unite. So we settled that. You have Sanjay Boodoo, Raja Bowens, Miss Bernard, Dr. Bernard, this one, that one, complaining about the election process yesterday. You have Mosai, all of them complaining. And because your team win, before everybody know your team win, you just simply say, we have to unite. That is wrong, Madam Opposition Leader and Political Leader. That will not have healing. That will have more and more resentment, and it will have a coming together convenience, and not for party and country, but convenience only. So this is what the opposition leader and political leader said. The People's National Movement political leader, Penelope Beckers, last night called on party members to unite after a bruising internal election campaign in which her one-slate team was in the lead. That was last night, huh? That was a projection late last night at Balize House, Port of Spain headquarters, where the election committee was busy counting votes. However, ahead of the confirmation of the results, Beckers took to Facebook with a statement calling for healing in the party. You can't do that. Not because your team win, everybody must forget everything and fall in line. That is not healing. That is plastering a sore that will start to seep. Tonight marks a pivotal moment in our movement as we forge forward. United in purpose, we await the election results, and the leadership will guide us forward with vision and resilience. This campaign has exemplified the diverse voices within our party, each sharing their hope for a brighter future. And you can't tell us that when your team was criticizing people who had a different voice than all you, or they had all the supporters cussing people all over Facebook because they have a different voice and say they support XYZ. So you can't just come and just cover it up now and ball. Pivotal moment, the campaign exemplify diverse voices within our party, each sharing their hope for a brighter future. But all wasn't listening. The one PNM team was on their own vibes. Or they didn't care about nobody. I want everybody to fall. That is not healing. If you're listening or your people's listening, to go back and tell you, this is not bashing. This is telling if you're serious, but taking the PNM forward to victory for 2030, or they're not going about it the right way. People could say, oh, you're not no political scientist, and who is you? Yes, I'm somebody who understands things, and I have a voice I could speak. I'm not in the bosom of nobody. I'm speaking from an objective point of view. People may not agree, but it will come to prove what I was saying, because I've always been saying, I don't like how this election process going. It's something that has something in right in it. It's something a kind of way. When I watch the scene how it playing out, I look at all the back and so you want everybody to forget that and just move along to all their beats and all they're happy with that. That is not how things work, right? She said, now it's time to reconvene as one people. All the time was one PNM team. Now it's one people. One people to set aside individual ambitions and embrace collective strength. Our triumph lies in our unity, for it is together that we can transform challenges into opportunities and forge a future rooted in our shared values. And again, put aside your individual ambition. That all you put aside all the individual ambition April the 28th? Or while the campaign for the PNM election was going on, then all they put aside all the individual ambitions, because there was a caucus in Tobago. Some agree, some didn't agree. There was a general council meeting, and then everybody agreed. And then after that, conversations, they could say what they want. People were going around and telling people don't vote for CO2 and the PNM. I don't know why they don't want to admit that as if it never happened. So all of them put aside all their personal ambition or individual ambition so that the whole party would win, or they would have been government now, so that we don't have to sit down and listen to PM2 and all that foolishness that passing for good debate on the government side. The PNM would have been in office. Or they then put aside all their individual ambition then, because CO2 was the problem to all them. Because as far as all they see, in my opinion, I'm saying it again, all they see Stuart Young become the prime minister. He's 50. And the kind of support he getting, that he might stay there for a whole 10 years. By that time, or they get too old, or the ambition thing, some of them might can get picked back, or they tell them themselves in ministry, or in cabinet, or this, whatever. So here what? Let me cut off the seed. So we individual ambition, pretending it's all our ambition, and the PNM out of office. Only 50 members, over 50 members committed themselves wholeheartedly, demonstrated our party's vitality and desire for renewal. Beckers expressed gratitude to all who participated in the election process. Your involvement signified that our movement is alive and determined. As we move forward, I pledge to work closely with the new leadership to rebuild, reconnect, reinforce the ideals and define the People's National Movement. Let us stand united, resolved and inspired to shape a future that reflects our highest aspiration. Together we will rebuild and renew our great movement, confident in the strength of our collective purpose. According to the Election Supervisory Committee Chairman Richard Walcott, preliminary results at 10:15 p.m. showed that the one PNM team was in the lead of the main executive, for the main executive post. He added figures are coming in from all over, but slowly. What we had so far is that one PNM slate is in the lead, but there are also very tight races between one PNM candidate for General Secretary Foster Cummins and independent candidate for the post, Roger Boynes. We are waiting results from Port of Spain, Arima Diego Martin. Arima registered the highest turnover of over 500 voters, right? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. The opposition leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckers, would have said that officers of the PNM would have fallen down the job field. But when you look at her team, that won, some of them right there again. So I don't understand if they're going to get up and do the job. You have Miss Irene Himes. I call in people them not because I have anything against them. It's to support what I'm saying. So let me see if I get this thing here proper. Give me a minute. You have, just now, where does this send me this thing? So you have oh gosh, where is it? Right. So you have Chairman Marvin Gonzalez getting 4,392 votes. Well, he wasn't on the last executive, right? We have Vice Chairman Amy Brown, 4,469 votes. He too was not in the last executive. We have Lady Vice Chair, Dr. Nayan Gaspidoli, 4,454 votes. She was there, and I think she's going to be a disaster as the lady chair of the Women's League. And I'll keep saying that, yeah? General Secretary Foster Cummins, 4,122 votes. He was there in the last executive. Is he one of the officers who fell down on the job? Assistant General Secretary Patricia Alexis, 4,565 votes. I didn't hear her name, so I didn't think she was there in the last executive. Treasurer Nal Ram Singh, 5,555 votes. I'm not sure about him also, but he was the one team. Education Officer Jelani Reed, 4,394 votes. Not sure if that person was a part of the last executive. Public Relation Officer, Faris Alwari, 5,045 votes. He was there in the last executive. Was he one of the officers who fell down on the job? Social Media Officer, Simon de Nobriega, 3,769 votes. He wasn't there in the last executive, but he was the communication minister in the PNM government. How much people know of him? How was he communicating the works of the government to the people on the ground so that we know what the government was doing? The person who was doing that was Dominic Romain, who secured 2,833 votes. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying today, because of that social media officer position, that they rigged the election. Just based on that, I'm just saying, I am sure there are persons today are saying, because of that simple thing with Dominic Romain, not the social media officer, people will say something in work out and thing right, because everybody know Dominic Romain and the work that he's doing and went out to vote for Dominic Romain. Nobody knew Simon de Nobriega. I continues. Election officer, Indar Parasam, 3,441 votes. I have been told that he is a non-existent election officer. Tanapuna, I know he at all. They never see him wherever it is. Was he one of the officers who fell down on the job, according to the political leader, Mrs. Penelope Beckers, but he's back in. Field officer Curtis Shade, 3,674 votes. I don't know much about the gentleman, but he was not there on the last executive. And see, welfare officer Maxine Richards, 4,979 votes. She was the last welfare officer. Was she one of the persons, I'm asking, who the opposition leader, political leader said fell down on the job? Youth officer Kareem Marcel, 4,871 votes. I would like to congratulate Kareem Marcel because I know him based on my support I always give to him when he became a lawyer. He wasn't on the last executive. He's now the youth officer. Congratulations, Mr. Marcel. Hope that you bring something new to the table. Youth operation officer Irene Hines, 5,010 votes. She was in the last executive of the PNM. Was she one of the officers who fell down on the job? Labor Relation Officer, it's now Kenneth Duraj, 3,688 votes. I don't think he was a part of the last administration, right? So I'm asking this question. Foster Cummins, Nine Gaspi, Faris Alwari, Indar Parasam, Maxine Richards, Irene Hines. Those are 6 persons was on the last executive of the People's National Movement. Political leader, with all due respect, were they some of the ones who fell down on the job because they in one team? No. So what difference are they going to bring? So while I hear that you are elated because your team won, you're happy, sweep the place, thousands and thousands of votes, there are still people who feel and will continue to feel that disenchanted and the voice is not being heard. But I want to say something because in all the jubilation, let me read this what Embert said. The results of the people's, well, I saw it's petited and attributed to it, right? The results of the PNM's internal elections will be released on Monday, incumbent party chairman Con Embert said on the final day of elections at the PNM's 50th convention held at Queen's Park, Savannah on Sunday. A total of 14,456 participants were involved including 175 general council attendees, 962 delegates, 356 guests, and 12,963 observers. I haven't heard those numbers before, even at election time. At the end of the day, he said votes were still being counted. On nomination day, what's this? No. This is from the PNM internal elections of 2022, right? Because it speaks about a nomination day, October the 10th. All 16 positions in the PNM slate went up for grabs. Elections were held over a 3-day period, yes, November 26th and November 27th, and culminating in the final voting day on Sunday. A total of 12,000 voters out of a membership of 105,894 turned out to vote over the 3-day period. Let me read it again. A total of 14,456 participants were involved, including 175 general council attendees, 962 delegates, 356 guests, and 12,963 observers. And he's saying, over that 3-day period, at the end of the day, he said he had never seen that type of number, right? And a total of 12,000 people voted. So that would have been, in 2022, 12,000 voters turn out. I'm understanding that in 2025, it's less than 7,000, a little under 7,005 voters. So if in 2022, 12,000 voters turn out to vote, and in 2025, in internal election, under 7,005 voters turn out, then the victory that the political leader is claiming is a hollow one. Because let me do a subtraction over there. Let me do a subtraction. So 12,000 minus, let me say 7,005. I'll be generous. That means to say 4,500 less voters turn out in 2025. You have all kind of reasons for it. But if the one PNM team was so accepted and everybody loved and all that, we should have seen more than 12,000 or close to 12,000 voters coming out again in 2025. Because in 2022, it was a Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley who was going to be the political leader, and he managed to get 12,000 PNM people, members, to come out and vote in that election. And the convention was big. I was there. First time I go to a convention because I was there, it was big, really big. The same Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley that always says a tyrant and he this and he arrogant and he can't talk and whatever, people came out and vote. His contender, who was challenging him, or the challenger was Karen Ines Teixeira and Ronald Boynes. And he would have gotten the popular vote. They have here, I'm reading from Wikipedia, 8,424 votes. Karen Ines Teixeira got 345 votes, and Roger Boyne got 243 votes. Junior Barrett got, I'm not even seeing a number by it, right? So I don't see where's the big jubilation about. And don't tell me it's because, but I could say that if you want, it's because PNM was election and the voters disenchanted, the members disenchanted, and the ground and all that. Okay. But you would think that those same voters will say, you know what? I'm in a boo, so here what's going on. Let me go out and make sure we have a good executive, a strong executive, because we have to get back in office 2030. You would think that people would say that, but people ain't come out. And the reason I would say, in my opinion, they didn't come out is because when they see the performance of the one team and the behavior, the disenchantment, they feel just continued. Because all they seen is you all in fighting. Not in fighting, huh? But you all only carrying down Dr. Rowley. He's not there again. But all they go on the stage and all they talking. And all they're not calling Dr. Rowley name. But all they're referencing it. And people were turned off by that. And then now people who had a different opinion, the only thing all they do is cuss them. But all they was bullying people. So this was, it says 3 days ago, live on, PNM supporters lying on their backs and taking licks from opponents, says Gonzalez. A Lucalopino MP, Marvin Gonzalez, believes the PNM has become a dormant political force. He was speaking at a political meeting at the Buko Community Center, Tobago, on June the 17th, ahead of the PNM internal election on June 22nd. Gonzalez contested the position of chairman on the one PNM slate, led by political leader designate Penelope Beckers, outlining several projects on which he and other former PNM ministers have delivered to Tobagonians and citizens in other parts of the country over the last 4 years. Gonzalez accused supporters of failing to highlight the work done by the party. MP Gonzalez, with all due respect, is not the supporters had to highlight the work. You all had a social media officer, public relation officer, and a communication minister. They are the ones who are supposed to be highlighting it. So don't throw that on supporters. Let me continue. He also accused them of remaining silent while the PNM detractors constantly malign the party on social media. I will tell you this. We are not being propagandists of the PNM. When they go on Instagram and when they go on social media and they spread their lies every single day to condition the minds of our people, who is pushing back against them? We have become a dormant political force, lying on our backs and taking licks every single day. Our opponents are lying every single day, and as a party, we are not pushing back against them. We are not, and therefore the lies have taken root in the minds of our children, and we have to reverse that. What exactly is MP Gonzalez speaking about? Because the three offices that were to deal with communication, what the PNM was doing, they wasn't doing it. The people on social media, the Dominic Romaine, the Jennifer Frederick, even the one who cussed me every day, she had to cuss. I don't know if I call she and say, go cuss Jennifer Frederick. She was putting out the news. Even the one who is a pastor who want them to throw me off a platform, he was doing what he had to do too. We had Darren Master, we had the barbershop, we had Sharon Felix, we had at time Bruce Wayne before he left, and we were doing the promoting of the party out there and getting cuts from the UNC. Or they didn't have a problem when we was attacking on social media verbally the UNC. We ain't got no thanks. Nothing. We were doing it because we are patriots. Well, not those on the radio station. I think I talk about the ordinary layman and those keyboard warriors we had on social media who joined with us. Too much to mention now. Or they didn't have a problem with that, or they didn't like that because we're doing the work of the social media officer, the public relation officer, and the communication officer. Or they didn't have a problem. Now those same voices are saying, listen, this is not government, no, they're not in government. We big up the government when the government in government, the PNM government, and stand in defense of the PNM government in government. But this is the political party, the PNM, this is not government. And if we want to get back into office, the way all they going, it's looking like it will happen. And we say, hey, pull up, check all this out. The political leader, all they don't want to acknowledge that, start off bad with having a caucus with just 3 and 6 MPs and not the 12 MPs. Or they had a meeting, general council, and 2 people who ain't supposed to vote, or they allow them to vote, or they ain't say nothing. And all they keep doing misstep after misstep. Start to call out people because some change maker or something, right in opinion. Or they started calling and who do it? And then 1 minute all they say is me, 1 minute all they say Stuart, 1 minute all they say Dr. Rowley, and da. Call them out. And all kind of thing on they doing. Why? Because people, you saying is lies, but people resonating with it because there are people confirming them thing is true. But all they're dealing with that, all they wanted people to attack people who simply saying, hey, but listen to we now, because all they say, the political leader says she listening. Listen to what people say now. No, they want to do that. And now, just so, because all they win. Because all they win. Let's forget that now, we come together again. Nothing has changed. Other than there's a executive with some of the same field officers still there. People feelings are there. You can't switch off and switch on just like that. People is not machine. What are they going to do to treat with it? You can't simply go, well, we win. The whole thing swept the whole place. We win. Then we come together and work now. It can't be just simply that. And I want to tell MP Monroe, no, he didn't win a seat, so Roger Monroe, that you see the people who help you, because conversation, I don't know how true it is. It said that there's a particular lady who had some health challenges, and I think yesterday or something, the person called her, whatever, and you turn your back on them and think, you don't do them thing if it is true. Because that is the same, and that is what it is alleged MP Marvin Gonzalez would have said in a meeting with the elders. It is alleged he don't like want no old people around him, he only want young people around him. And that's the kind of disrespect. So it's all you putting things in young people's mind that making them feel like a disrespect the elderly and just toss them aside. So I'm saying again, how they intend to make this work. I want to read something here quickly, the civil rights movement. Because there's a conversation, because I'm black, as Rasta, and I say as black conscious. It means to say I must support every black person. And if I don't support every black person, it takes away my blackness, that I am not black conscious. And it stems from me supporting my member of parliament, which to me is a crazy thing, because I'm a member of parliament. Not somebody else member of parliament, and I'm living in Stuart constituencies here I voted for since 2015. So I give him my support. People have a challenge with that, because I must automatically support Mrs. Penelope Beckers, because she's black. Because SPNM is a black party. So they say. Dr. Williams, when he formed this party, never says a black party. I want to see where in the charter, the People's Charter, and any document the PNM have that said this is a black party. Once they could show me that, I'll say, okay, it's a black party, I concur, but still supporting my member of parliament. Because I don't believe you have to support somebody because they're black. Just for supporting sake. Because if the person can't do the job, whatever it is, you come to my establishment to get a job, that's just an African person, an Indian person. Two of them come. So, the person of Indian descent, their resume is suited for the job I have for them to do. The one of African descent has a resume, but it's not suited for my thing. So I must not hire the Indian person and hire the African person because it's African and they're not suited for my job I want to do. That don't make sense. What they could tell me I could do, put the African person on file, and if I hear anything, I will go that distance where I know they might, and call the person and say, listen, somebody came to be interviewed by me, XYZ, they're more suited for your thing, wherever it is, set up an interview. I'll do something like that. But you can't tell me I have to hire the African person who don't have the qualification I need for my job, my space, my business. And the Indian man or woman have it, and don't hire them because them is Indian. I not buying them foolishness. And if African drunk in and an Indian drunk in, who I go save? First of all, I can't swim. And if one ain't close to the shore, I go run to get help. So I don't know how they go make out. And if the person in there descend closer, where I can throw something like a pull, that's who I go pull, unfortunately. If the African in front, I can pull the same damn thing. If I can pull two of them, I go pull them. But don't tell me no chopping is save the African. I can't swim. And they further out to say that I'm saving African because African, I don't believe in them foolishness. My Black consciousness is so conscious that I could support somebody from another race and they don't take away my Blackness from me. Or they misunderstand what it means to be Black conscious. I'm not a part of them foolishness. In the civil rights movement, it involved people of various backgrounds, although it was primarily focused on the rights of Black Americans. While Black Americans were the primary group facing discrimination and leading the fight for equality, many white Americans, along with people from other racial and ethnic groups, actively participated in the movement. Many white Americans recognizing the injustice of racial segregation and discrimination joined the movement. They participated in protests, boycotts, and other forms of activism, often facing backlash from their own communities. Individuals from various ethnic and religious backgrounds also joined the movement, including Jewish Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans, who often face their own form of discrimination. The civil rights movement also highlighted the interconnectedness of various forms of oppression. For example, women play crucial roles in the movement, both as leaders and organizers through their contribution, though their contributions are often overlooked or minimized. Same thing with labor. The overarching goal of the civil rights movement was to achieve equality for all, regardless of race. This vision of a more just and equitable society resonated with people from diverse backgrounds who also experienced discrimination or inequality. So Martin Luther King, because he was Black conscious and fighting for the rights of people of African descent against the injustices, the brutality, the lynchings, the taking away the rights, enslavement, all that, he should not have teamed up with persons of a different race to help in the march. He should have told the white people, the Asian people, the Jewish people, and all them, we don't want to in this. This is just for Black people. Yeah? So I want to know if that took away from Dr. Martin Luther King Blackness, because he marched with white people, he spoke to white people, and white people are part of the group. I want to know if Nelson Mandela, also God rest his soul like Martin Luther King, that if when he came out of Robben Island after 27 years being incarcerated, that he said, I don't want to talk to no white people, because white people have South Africa apartheid. I was in jail for 27 years, I'm coming out now, and want the white people. So if he had done that, what would happen to South Africa today? That's another thing. I'm not saying apartheid is not, but how it was before. So that take away from me Blackness. And I could go on and on. So this conversation that I support Stuart Young, and I'm not supporting Ms. Penelope Beckers, and that means I'm doing something wrong because I am Black. I reject that outright. My support for Ms. Beckers is not a personal thing. I appreciate her as a person of African descent. I will support her in whatever she has, in whatever the case. But as political leader, opposition leader, especially of the People's National Movement, that is where I have my ants. And I'm not going to stop saying that, because I have not seen anything to indicate to me that if she has the ability to all know, all I'm simply telling her, tell me what it is. Because I want to get on board also. Because this is, at the end of the day, for Trinidad and Tobago. I will get on board, but nobody is showing me anything. All they tell me, she nice, she there for real years, and she black, I must support she. I am not going to fall for that kind of gaslighting foolishness. So they continue to cuss me every time, because I continue to say, I support my member of parliament. He did not take part in the process. I'm happy he did not take part, because that piece of bacchanal, there's an unopposed political leader. There's an opposition leader chosen by 6 of the 12 members of parliament who won the seat. She voted for herself, so we're 7. She's opposition leader. Okay, let me see what you got. In the meantime, I don't have anything to compare on to say, well, oh yeah, she did this. Oh yeah, I don't have anything. I'm looking on now. Years on the road, next 2 years, where I'll say, well, you know, I would have been wrong. I see what she did, but as it is now, me, I see nothing. The same thing I could say with Dr. Nine Gasly. I don't dislike the woman, but I don't see her being able to take the Women's League to anything. To me, she does not have that demeanor. All of them who talking and cussing and thinking now, all of them know. They talk about the woman and say she's not friendly, she think people find she this, people that say that about she. Oh, they don't know it, they know that. They know that, so I don't know why people don't want to be truthful. I don't know if people getting something, they're afraid they will get it and where. I don't know the case with me. But at the end of the day, all of them were saying that people on this life could say that. I don't know, she may get friendly, I don't know. But I'm not seeing her doing anything. So I will say what I say. So, let me just read something, and these things are very important in leadership. You must know your limitation, right? Everybody must know their limitation. So knowing your limitation as a leader is crucial for effective leadership, team success, and personal well-being. Recognizing what you are not good at allows you to delegate tasks, build a stronger team with complementary skills, and avoid burnout. It also fosters humility and offers open communication, making you a more relatable and trustworthy leader. Building a stronger team, delegation. When you understand your weaknesses, you can confidently delegate tasks to individuals who possess the necessary skills and expertise. Recognizing your limitation allows you to build a team with diverse strengths, ensuring all areas are covered effectively. By acknowledging your limits, you empower team members to contribute their unique talents, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility. Informed decision-making. Awareness of your limitation helps you make more balanced decisions, recognizing when you seek input from others. Leaders who know their limits can adapt their approach and communication style to better suit the situation and individual team members. Admitting limitation fosters humility, making you more approachable and relatable to your team. Recognizing your limits prevents overworking and help you prioritize tasks, reducing stress and preventing burnout. Knowing your limits allows you to set healthy boundaries in your work and personal life, promoting a better work-life balance. Acknowledging limitation creates opportunities for personal and professional growth through self-reflection and development. Leaders who are aware of their limitations are more open to receiving feedback and suggestions from their team members. Just let me drink a little water. Acknowledging weakness can create a safe environment for team members to express their own vulnerabilities and concerns. Excuse me. In conclusion, knowing your limitation is not a sign of weakness, but a strength that enables you to build a stronger team, enhance your leadership effectiveness, and protect your well-being. It's a crucial aspect of self-awareness and continuous improvement, leading to more successful and fulfilling leadership. authentic leadership. Authentic leadership characterized by genuineness, transparency, and integrity is crucial for building trust, fostering strong relationships, and driving positive organizational outcomes by aligning actions with values and promoting open communication. Authentic leaders inspire their team, enhance engagement, and create a culture of trust and collaboration. Excuse me. Authentic leaders are perceived as trustworthy because their word and actions align with their values, creating a foundation for strong relationships with their teams. When leaders are open and honest, it encourages team members to be more vulnerable and share their thoughts, ideas, fostering a culture of psychological safety. Authentic leadership fosters a sense of belonging and shared purpose, which can significantly boost team morale and motivation. Trust, a key outcome of authentic leadership, is vital for open communication and collaboration, leading to increased productivity and innovation. Research indicates that teams led by authentic leaders tend to perform better due to increased trust, loyalty, and commitment. Authentic leaders are guided by a strong moral compass, ensuring their decisions align with their values and ethical principles. The focus on integrity and transparency can inspire ethical behavior throughout the organization, fostering a culture of responsibility. Excuse me. Authentic leaders are self-aware and continuously work on their personal growth, creating a culture of learning and improvement by demonstrating vulnerability and the willingness to learn from mistakes. They inspire the team to embrace a similar mindset. People are drawn to authentic leaders because they value genuine connection and a positive work environment. Authentic leaders create a culture where people feel valued and respected, leading to higher levels of employee engagement and retention. In essence, authenticity in leadership is not just a desirable trait. It's a powerful driver of positive organizational outcomes, fostering trust, enhancing performance, and promoting a thriving and ethical work environment. Just this one, I want to read deceptive leadership. Deceptive leadership, often described wolves in sheep clothing, involves leaders who manipulate and mislead followers for their own benefits, often hiding their true intentions behind a facade of positive qualities. This type of leadership can be incredibly harmful, leading to a loss of trust, ethical violations, and ultimately failure. False promises and misdirections. Deceptive leaders often make promises they don't intend to keep or use vague language to obscure their true goals. They may manipulate followers' emotions, such as fear of excitement, to gain support for their agenda. Deceptive leaders may hide unethical or harmful actions behind a facade of social responsibility or ethical behavior. They are not transparent about their actions and decisions, creating an environment of suspicion and distrust. When followers realize they have been deceived, they can be very difficult to regain their trust. It can be very difficult to regain their trust. Deceptive leaders may engage in unethical or illegal activities to achieve their goals. Organizations led by deceptive leaders can suffer significant reputational damage. Ultimately, followers will abandon deceptive leaders once they see through the deception. Right? How to identify deceptive leaders? Be wary of leaders who make excessive promises or use manipulative language. Look for inconsistencies between their words and action. Pay attention to how they treat their followers. Do they value their followers' well-being, or are they using them for their own purposes? Be skeptical of leaders who are not transparent or accountable. Trust your instinct. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Deceptive leadership can be very dangerous, so it is important to be able to recognize the signs of this type of leadership and protect yourself from its negative consequences. So I want to ask the opposition leader and political leader. Does she know it's a limitation? Is she an authentic leader? Or is she a deceptive leader? Right? And I would leave it there. So I'm seeing Miss Malka saying she's so disappointed as an educational guru, Dominic Romaine, did not get the nod, excuse me, for the post of, social media officer. And a lot of people will be feeling that way. A lot of people will be feeling that way because they know that he's the person for that position. And I will tell you something that I will admit here, and Dominic will tell you, MP Dominic will tell you I told him that. Tell him don't get involved in that. Because I felt from day one, that whole thing, that whole process ain't looking right. I tell him don't get in that. Don't get yourself involved in that. See what your constituents and them, how your little podcast, whatever, don't get involved in that. Because I can understand how Simon O'Brien get them votes over Dominic Romaine. That's just my opinion. So I did tell him, Melka, I told him stay out of that. So I want to say to those who are locked on to Bounce Up, Wayne Gibson, David Clark, Kevin Williams, I see saying correct, Jenny, Annette Moses, Sadina, Owen, Patty. I'm very sorry if Dr. Roddy was in office, all this wouldn't have happened. He tried to pull everybody together in the PNM, but Stuarty is the problem, but Stuarty keep the faith. What is for you? That is from Patty. Let me see who again. The conversation will be hot here, Ansel, Annette. I want to miss out nobody. Okay, Kevin. Let me see who again. The conversation hot here and all, yeah. Gabriel. Yeah. Okay, I think I got everybody. Thank you all for giving me that support on Bounce Up Central. Thank you for the platform manager for giving me that space also. And on Facebook now, I want to thank Sarah, Sadie, Kim, Joel, Allison, Carol, Diane, Elizabeth, Winetta, Sarah, Brian, Alice, Bernadette or Bernadine, Jillian, Errol, Scotty, Shelley, Andre, Dion, Celestine, Joseph, Jesse, Dandy, Judith, Pauline, Angela Lacroix, Rodriguez Lacroix. Oh, I hope everything okay with you, sweetie. Prince, Anne-Marie, Angela, Yvonne, Jenny, Citizen Faithful, Halista, Belinda, Charlene, Morton, Gordon, she whole name, Barbara, Veronica, Jennifer, Brian, Anne-Marie, Cheryl, Naomi, Alison, Anne, Philomene, June, Patty, Mary, Latoya, Anne again, Cecilia, Hazen, Clyde, Helen Restaurant, Pleasant Bell, Carolyn, Julie, Sue Sanka, Jagasar, and Joanne Emmanuel, and somebody rushing quick, Horatio Ferdinand. Hi Val, I didn't see your name there. Hi Salita. So it has some here carrying on conversation too. As I say again, at the end of the day, I want to congratulate Kareem Marcel on winning. Because he's the only person I know that not a part of who was there before. He's now the youth officer. And I wish him all the best. Again, my concern is with the Women's League. The Women's League is the heartbeat of the People's National Movement. And if people are put in charge of that and don't understand how to move it anywhere, I don't see Dr. Nayan Gaspi as having the ability to do anything like that. She may be bright, she has a doctorate in, I think, micro something or whatever. Very bright lady, very beautiful lady, well dressed, everything. But I don't think she has what it takes to garner those women. Again, leadership, you're talking leadership. Will her leadership be a deceptive one? Will it be authentic? Will it be she acknowledge her limitations and get the help that she may need? Or will she be on she high horse that she usually is and strut around with her head up in the air and no talk to nobody and just have a few followers and faithfuls around her? I don't know. I'm asking. Yeah? I see this guy, this gentleman, Robert Lee Hunt. He seemed to be gazing up like how Ralph Mirage was writing thing and telling it. Everybody he writes something. So Madam Camille Robinson Regis writes something, he writes a response to she. And what kind of flurry thing when he made a start to jam the woman. Remember Parliament writes something, he responds back to it. So he's the man responding. I don't know if he auditioning for the position of political leader of the People's National Movement. But I want to ask Mr. Robert Lee Hunt, like I just asked other men, because I just asked the men in the union movement also. I want to ask Mr. Robert Lee Hunt, what is his take or what is his stand on domestic violence? Because he's not the first man I would have asked that. And people all know that. I don't just watch my thing. I just ask them ever so often. Mr. Robert Lee Hunt, I would like to know what is your stance on domestic violence. I would like to hear that, because if you're posting yourself, in my opinion, to be political leader, you'll be around a lot of women, a lot of young people, to foster the young minds. I like to hear those things, because despite what they say, despite what I like to say, I like to empower women, young girls. And you see, women who are deceptive, they're not authentic. I just have challenge with them, so I just be a little harsh on them. Because I want them to do their best, but I want them to live the authentic life, be real. But I am about empowering our little black girls, and by extension, all little girls, so that they could grow up to be confident women. Because the women who rock this world, we are the shapers and makers and the decision makers, despite what the men want to tell us. So we have to be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So when you're in a space, Dr. Nayan Gaspi, where you have to empower women, you have to be authentic. You can't be deceptive. And you have to know your limitations. Because I will ask you again, in a quiet moment, I ask you a question. How did you treat the deceased member of parliament for, it was Malabar or Mira, I think it was, now I just forget, that's where Dominic when he seated. MP and Junior Minister in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Lisa Maureen Julian, how did you treat her? Because there are conversations out there, because all the right to talk, people don't think always say nothing. There are conversations out there that is not nice. So I'm asking you, did you support Madam Camille Robinson Regis when she was going through that situation where Kamala Prasad Sessa was saying she have slave master name? Because we outside the Red House marching and he refused. He refused to even acknowledge us. We all there. So when you look at things like that and now use the lady vice chair of the Women's League, I have my concerns, because I understand what it means to the PNM to have a good, strong, functioning, educated, empowering Women's League. So all who want to go and cuss and say, that's quite okay. At the end of the day, I am being my authentic self. I'm black, I'm beautiful, I'm proud. And because I'm that conscious on myself, I could love anybody of any other race and it doesn't diminish my worth of a person of African descent. So I'll say it again because that seems to be bothering people. I support my Member of Parliament, Stuart Richard Young. He don't have to give me $1. He don't have to call me and tell me what to say. I do it because I believe that he has the ability, and he has done it already, in treating with his constituents, doing the best with his constituents, and if given a chance, again, to be the Prime Minister of this country, I think he would do a good job. So who don't like that? I don't know what to tell them. My issues again with Mrs. Penelope, the Honorable Penelope Beckers Robinson, is I do not have any information, any data, because I like to read from things. I could pull up things that my Member of Parliament would have done in the energy sector. That's easy to pull up. The opposition leader was in several ministries, she mentioned it, and different organizations within the PNM and council and all that. I'm yet to hear somebody say what she did in her ministries. How did she empower people when she was in planning and development? What she did. Under Ms. Camille Robinson Regis going in Ministry of Housing, they had the thing where the people who have the houses were falling apart and they get the people to build a little house and thing. When she was a part of that, she could say, oh, dear Ms. Camille, thing that. You could point out another thing, she was the chief whip. No, she was the head of government business in the parliament. And she talk on topic and say no about that. Women's League, putting out statements in defense of this and talking on. Women's League conference she there on. It have things you could talk about with Ms. Camille Robinson Regis. When it comes to Mrs. Penelope Beckers, who is the opposition leader and political leader, it had nothing. And nobody is sending me nothing. Nobody is telling me nothing. So if I don't have nothing to look at to say, well, based on that, I can't compare nothing. So I must support blindly because she black, right? And that makes sense to plenty of people. Because she black, just support she. And that makes no sense to me. If you're black and you have a job to do and you're not competent to do it, I can't support you for doing the work. You go get support for something else because you're black. But I'm not supporting you in something just because you're black and you can't do it, or because you're doing the wrong thing and say, oh, are we black? Me ain't doing that. I'm not one of them, and that don't take away my blackness. Still proud to be black. Still will help my black brother, sister, any time of the day, any hour, any time. But I don't mean to say I can't help a white brother, Chinese brother, Indian brother, Syrian brother, white brother. I don't understand all the time, all the blackness, it's just black people. And the black people are competent to do the work. So I go hire a mason because he's black. And he can't do the work. Why want him to do? And the Indian man could do the work. But I know Indian man, but because I'm black conscious, I hire the black man who will come and shut up my work. And when I don't know, I have to get somebody to do over the work because we black? No. I'm not doing that. And that don't make me less black. What it make me? The person of African descent go and blast it, bring yourself up to par. So when it I work, I could hire to do the damn work. What problem with that? That's the way it is. So I want to tell you all, tell them John really talk the thing. I'm glad he did not take part also. Yeah, they vexed me because I say I support Stuart Young. I don't understand that. I don't know if they feel Stuart Young does give me money. Stuart Young don't give me no money. I can take off my glasses or you can see me eye. I just might be able to see all the good. Stuart Young don't give me no money. I don't ask Stuart Young for no money. She ought to call me and tell me what to say, when to say, how to say. As a free woman, I just say what I have to say, when I want to say, and how I want to say. I'm not a nobody leash, as one of them to tell me. As a free individual, and I give my support where I know the support will mean something because the person could do what is needed to be done. And then again, the man is my member of parliament. So I don't know. So something happened in my constituency, I go run up and call the opposition leader because she black. She will help me in my constituency. That's where we reach now. We want to reward mediocrity because we're black. And that is why we're having a lot of challenge. Because we don't want to give on merit. We want to give because we're black. We can't build our ethnic group. We can't build our race simply supporting and say, because you're black, I will support you and you can't do the work. That don't make sense. Yeah? Let people go and develop themselves. I tell you, I went before I went. And this is not, I using this as a measure, anything, but just telling you something because they're talking black. I went in Old Market, where is now a mall. Because I said the same thing. I said today, I ain't going in no Syrian place to buy nothing. I was looking for some flag from a pumpkin. I say I'm going in the Old Market mall there. I can't remember it, Town Market, something on Charlotte Street. When I walk in, the first thing I get is a wave of heat. The security, I said, it's an air conditioner in here. He said it had air conditioner, but people want to pay, so everybody had an individual thing. I said, well, what do you hear? I said, okay. I'm determined I'm going to buy, boy. First I walk in, the woman eating. Good morning, do you have flags? She do so. So I follow she I see the flag up there, I say, okay. So I see it at different sizes. So I had to ask, you can tell me what's the price of this one, please? She tell me. And what's the price of the next one? By the time I go to actually tell her, she say, you buy? And if you hear the attitude, I watch her, I said, I said, let me go across by the Syrian and then with the air conditioners and people will talk to me at different tone. Yes, I did say that and I walk out. And I went across the road, walking with air condition, and I said that flag they didn't have, and I went somewhere, some of the case on me. Yeah, I should have stayed and take that treatment because she black. Right? A customer coming, you eating. You could tell the customer, listen, I'm not having some lunch or what I was feeling so hungry. Could you give me a minute or them? Or you cover it, whatever it is, and you deal with your customer. If that's a 5 thing, what the price is, buy the buying. You don't show them, no, I should have buy and still take the insult from the black business owner because she black. Come on, give me a break, yes? Oh, yeah? Hey, Crookshank. Nice seeing you, man. Shout out there, boy. Long time I see that name there. So, people, have a blessed one. See you all on Wednesday. Go spend a comment something for something new. This is the girl Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, there's Miss Jennifer Frederick and the edition that we talk meeting. The PLM has the central executive now. A lot of them, the opposition leader, political leader, was spoken about the officers following the job. So I hope those officers, whoever they are, they will get up and do the job now, and we will see a properly functioning executive, and that the social media officer, who is not Dominic, will do the job. And we wait to see the job. Because we is the one who was doing the job all the time. So we wait to see what they have planned and let they do and handle the business. But I want to tell the opposition leader again, the healing can't be simply that all they win, all they get what they want, and to hell with everybody else, all they have to fall in line. That is not healing, ma'am. You need to find a way so it will deal with your leadership. Whether you're one that knows your limitation, you're authentic or you're deceptive. You have to find your leadership style and know how to bring all to the table and have an open and frank discussion. Get it out, purge it out, vomit it out, whatever, and let me start fresh. Because just covering it up, it ain't working because plenty people not happy. They're not happy with that team inside there. They're not happy with you. They're not happy with how the election went down. They ain't happy with this. They ain't happy with that, and all they're not healing. Instead, all they're behaving like all they want to bully people to tell them, hey, I'm who is you, and Ting, and it's one love, and all that join with me. And no, that's not how they do things. So find all themselves together quick. There's an election to be won 2030. Opposition leader, political leader. Let me see your action. Send some info to me now. Tell me what things you do and all that. So when I talk, I can say, the opposition leader, well, you don't have to send it personally. Because who is me? I'm just me and nothing, you know, they say, you know? Or I say, me and nothing. Or they don't consider people like me. Or they just know all people. And or they just turn on the back on people like we so. We are what they have to walk in high heels, a tight skirt, and your breast perk up so. And you call a little light than me and you hear a little softer. And then people, they must take you on. Hey. So as I say again, it is what it is. I said what I said. Yeah, she doesn't belong in the Women's Day. She do her, yes. Everybody does see that. That is Dr. Nyan Gatsby styling. I don't know if she don't understand that or she don't care. I don't know what it is. She's very standoffish. She'll look down at you. She pass you straight. She barely answer you. And all of them know that. I wish she listening to hear how people think about her. You think it's only me alone people that talk and think about? Me in public life, you know. So me among to talk to people, I can pass people straight or I'm not in no public life, you know. But you in public life, miss. And you don't treat people with no kind of humility and love. Or you want to bring back the love, you need to find love. You ain't had that love in your cold. You're cold like dog nose. So people, I love you all. See you all on Wednesday. Go spend a comment something fresh, something new. All those on Bounce Up, love you all, and thank you for the support always. Thank you so much.